like a pathetic bead trophy. It's Sanctuary of Reality, my comic review series. Here we are with Cerebus issue 149, the 10th and final chapter of Melmoth. Sebastian Melmoth's body is prepared for burial. Reggie, Robbie, and the hotel proprietor attempt to get the city hall to make the official declaration of death, but Melmoth's hotel registry use of a pseudonym caused them a considerable hassle. Robbie meets with the undertaker and finds some nuns to watch the body, while Reggie deals with reporters and creditors. Robbie signs the endless amounts of paperwork associated with Melmoth's death, and also deals with an unscrupulous district doctor who expects a bribe in order to keep from having Melmoth's body brought to the morgue to confirm that he didn't commit suicide. Another shady official appears, wanting to know how many callers Melmoth had and the value of his umbrella. Soon, the mourners arrive to view the body, poets and literary people mainly, but including some lower Feldons. The body of Melmoth, though looking dignified, is quickly placed in a coffin before decomp can set in. Alfred Douglas finally shows up, and the next day he, Robbie, and Reggie, and the rest of those associated with Melmoth head to the funeral. Despite there being no official notices sent out, it's quite a popular affair, with a great deal of flowers given by loads of people. Finally, Robbie stresses the importance of paying back the hotel proprietor for his perpetual generosity, and for Dr. Tucker as well, but especially for Reggie for staying with Melmoth during the worst of it. The book ends with a quote. Will it be the one initially on Oscar's grave, or the one in his own words that's later inscribed there? Cerebus gets just a cameo here, seen through the window of the coach. I don't quite get the whole metaphoric death aspect of this particular book. There are a few times it seems like Cerebus's catatonia mirrors the stuff that Melmoth is going through in dying, but other times it doesn't quite match up. Like, for instance, last issue, they juxtaposed Cerebus holding hands with Doris, with Melmoth actually dying. I don't get the correlation of that in terms of what this particular storyline is saying. I don't know. Maybe you do. Maybe people out there completely get it and have their own opinions on it. But it's never registered with me. I don't know. Another quickly read, streamlined issue, at least this one, unlike last issue, actually has a lot more dialogue to read. The whole storyline has been very much your atypical comic book. I can see it not being everyone's cup of tea or cup of absinthe. I know the first time I read Melmoth, I hated it. I mean, this was, look at Jaka's story was the slowing down of the overarching plot. It was definitely, compared to Church and State, it was sublime, it was subdued, but Melmoth is the screeching brakes of the storyline. We had so much momentum going in the series, and it's completely lost at this point. So in that regard, I just wanted to see more of Cerebus in his world. I didn't particularly care to get introduced to a new character. In that regard, I actually think this storyline could have worked better later on, like during Latter Days or something. Where it could have actually been the Oscar from Jaka story. I know Dave played fast and loose in some letter columns and other things about this being, is this really the Oscar from Jaka's story? No, it's not the Oscar from Jaka's story, because he appears in Mothers and Daughters. It's a spoiler, but yeah. So it would have been more interesting if that was that character. I mean, technically they are the same character, but I don't know. It just seems like this is a guy we don't know. He's based on a guy who's famous and real, and he's the second one based on the same character. And what do we care about what happens to him? I mean, yeah, death of anyone is bad, and it's terrible. It's a terrible, horrible thing, and that's one thing this storyline shows us. But in the middle of a continued series, you want to either stick with characters you know, or get to know characters who are going to be important later. And Melmoth isn't either one of those. So anyway, what was I going to say? Oh, yeah. Melmoth is a true work of art. Dave and Gerhard did an excellent job in crafting this tale. It's beyond beautiful, but a bit boring. But it has to be boring because death isn't always exciting and flashy. It's sometimes very mundane, very, very boring. And that's the way it should be, sometimes. I mean, if you're lucky, it's boring. If you're lucky, it's quick. But in Melmoth's case, it wasn't quick. But it's just still, of all the Cerebus books, I think this one actually stands most alone. Yeah, the prologue and epilogue and some of the little bits in between are definitely Cerebus story pieces that don't make much sense by themselves. But if you're looking for a good book to check out of Cerebus that's completely unlike anything else in the series, check out Melmoth. Next time, the moment we've all been waiting for, Cerebus finally comes to.